I always imagined that, if one day someone betrayed me, the impact would come like a bolt of lightning, fast, sharp, devastating. But when it happened, it wasn't like that at all. There was no bang, there was no fall, just a strange feeling of slow suffocation, as if something invisible had been placed around my neck and squeezed little by little, without haste, until there was no air left. And maybe that's why it took me so long to understand what was really happening. Maybe that's why I didn't scream or cry or made a fuss when I entered my house and found my fiancé, Ethan, with my sister Lauren in our bed, between the sheets we had chosen together, on the cushions that matched the wallpaper I had spent weeks researching, in the room that would be the beginning of our life together, and which at that moment was already just the end of everything I knew as mine. I shouldn't have been home. Lauren had called me saying she needed help choosing the flowers for the bouquet, and I should have been with her. But a severe headache kept me coming back. I needed a pill and silence, and that's the only reason I caught them there, whispering as if they were in a cheap movie, saying that they would tell me after the ceremony, that they would just wait a few more weeks, that after the honeymoon they would work something out, and all I could do was take a deep breath, push the door open and face the two of them, the woman I grew up with, who shared toys and secrets, and the man who promised to love me until the end of our days. Ethan froze. Lauren tried to cover herself, stammered my name as if that was enough to erase the scene. And I could only ask how long ago, and she answered 3 months. 3 long months in which I planned a wedding party while they planned their own escape. She was pregnant, she said it between sobs, and everything inside me seemed to spin, explode, break into pieces so small they could never be rebuilt. I ordered them both out of my house. I threw his clothes down the stairs and demanded the ring back. Then I spent days in silence, ignoring my mother's calls, my aunt's messages, Lauren's messages saying that she loved me, that she didn't want it to be like this, that she hadn't planned any of this. But how can you believe someone who smiles in front of you and stabs you in the back just as gently? I needed air, distance, so I went to my best friend's house, Chris, who hugged me before I said anything and, without asking me anything, just listened to me. And it was there, with my head on his shoulder and the bitter taste of betrayal in my throat, that I decided I wouldn't let them destroy me. That if they wanted war, they would have war. And it wouldn't be me running away, crying in corners or asking for explanations. I was going to stand up, and I would do it with the same calm that they had to betray me. I started by buying their dream house, the one that Lauren had posted on social media with a sweet caption and a photo of Ethan stroking her belly, saying that it would be the perfect home for their new family. Well, I made it my own, using a secret identity, without anyone getting suspicious. And then I went after an executive position in the company where Ethan worked, using my background in management and the talent I had always underestimated in myself. In a few weeks, I already had solid proposals, internal allies, and an offer to take over as head of operations was on my desk. So, while Ethan and Lauren were posting smiling photos and counting down to the birth of their baby, I was drawing up the new hierarchy of the company where he thought he was untouchable. When I finally signed the papers and the house passed into my name, I didn't tell anyone. I let them go on thinking that the home was theirs, that everything would work out, and I accepted, with a sweet smile, the invitation to the opening party. I arrived on time. In black, made up and as tall as ever, I saw my mother trying to smile as if nothing had happened. I saw Lauren with her belly already protruding hug me with tears in her eyes and whisper that she missed me. I saw Ethan lower his head without being able to look at me, and when everyone was gathered in the living room, ready for the toast, I asked for the floor, and in the same calm voice with which I was betrayed, I revealed that the house was mine. I took the deeds out of my pocket, I showed the documents, and I saw their world collapse. Lauren almost fell to the floor. Ethan paled like someone seeing a ghost, and my mother called me cruel. She said that this wasn't a family thing, that I was taking things too far. But all I could answer was that I wasn't taking things too far. I was just giving back in kind, and that if they thought I was going to watch silently as they laughed at my pain, they were very wrong. The next day, I walked through the door of the company as the new boss, and the first thing I did was demote Ethan to the internal projects sector, away from the spotlight, without any kind of privilege, and yet with a maintained salary, because my revenge wasn't destruction, it was control. He tried to rebel, but soon understood that he had no choice. He was no longer the powerful man he pretended to be. Now he was just one of many. Lauren came to my office days later with a bigger belly and swollen eyes, asking me to stop, saying that the stress was affecting the baby, that they couldn't take it anymore, that they were suffering, and all I did was look her in the eye and ask where. This compassion was when she decided to sleep with my fiancé, when she thought I should understand, accept, and move on, as if my heart was disposable, as if my life was an accessory on the way to their happiness. She cried, called me a monster, and I just smiled, saying that monsters don't cry while they're cheating on their own sister. Monsters don't ask for forgiveness only after they've been caught. Monsters pretend to be victims until the very last second. Weeks went by. The house renovations began. The baby's room became my private office. The kitchen gained mirrored walls and marble counters. The garden became a space for exclusive events. And while they tried to cope with the new reality, I was invited to dinners, charity events. I was called for interviews, lectures, and one night, at a high society event, I was introduced to Michael, a successful, discreet, and intelligent businessman. And for the first time in months, I felt something like peace. He listened to me, complimented me, looked me in the eye like no one had in ages. Lauren ended up losing the baby weeks later, and although part of me felt guilty, another part knew that I wasn't responsible for what she herself had caused. Ethan quit his job, tried to sue me, but got nothing. Because everything was within the law, everything done with the coldness and professionalism that he never had. My mother stopped talking to me for months, saying that I had become someone she didn't recognize, and all I could say was that I finally recognized myself in the mirror, that I now saw a woman who doesn't lower her head, who doesn't accept crumbs, who doesn't allow herself to be swallowed with a smile on her face. A woman who understood that you don't rebuild yourself by waiting for others to have regrets, but by taking control of your own story. And even if that control is covered in thorns, it is still mine. Only mine. And if you ever doubt my strength, just look at the house on Maple Street, the same one that Lauren dreamed of, decorated in spreadsheets and secretly wished for, and which is now mine, where every wall carries a chapter of my victory, where every inch speaks not of revenge but of rebirth, where every choice I made reminded me that suffering can be the beginning of a new life, a life that doesn't need excuses, acceptance, or forgiveness, because it is, above all, mine.